Right, let's all be seated. Thank you, thank you. Your Majesties, Honorable Ministers from the Netherlands and South Africa, ambassadors, officials of both our governments, and ladies and gentlemen, this is welcome you, Your Majesties, on this your first state visit to South Africa. South Africa and the Netherlands have long established historical ties, going back to the arrival of the first Dutch settlers in the Cape in 1652. In the post-colonial era, the Netherlands has played an important role in the anti-apartheid struggle that was waged by the majority of South Africans, with active and committed anti-apartheid organizations that were also very strong in the Netherlands against the apartheid system. More than 200 years since the Dutch ceded sovereignty of the Cape, there are a number of Dutch influences that still play an important part in the cultural and linguistic life of many South African communities. The Afrikaans language has much of its origins in Dutch and is the third most spoken national language of South Africa. Our country's Muslim community can trace its origins to the arrival of political exiles from the then Dutch East India colonies. There are distinct Dutch influences in the cuisine and customs of our country. The strength of our bilateral relations today and the bonds between our respective peoples reflect a commitment to acknowledge and confront the injustices of the past. We are determined to forge a new path for our respective countries based on shared values and a common commitment to human rights, equality, democracy, development, and prosperity for all. We are determined to build the bridges of tolerance and understanding in pursuit of a better future and a better world. In this regard, Your Majesties, I wish to acknowledge your presence here and the role that your country continues to play in our development. We are meeting at a time when our resolve to build a peaceful, equal future is being sorely tested, and where reconciliation and healing is sorely needed. The ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine and the devastating events unfolding in Israel and Palestine have left many of us saddened. They have left us fearful for the future of international cooperation and for our common aspiration to realize a world free of conflict. As South Africa, we have reiterated that there should be an immediate cessation of hostilities between the warring parties. The tenets of international law should be upheld, and that the international community has a responsibility to help bring about favorable conditions for negotiation and dialogue. As a country that chose the path of reconciliation over conflict and peace over war, we believe it is indeed possible for adversaries, even those that share bitter histories, to come together for the sake of peace. We believe change can never come too late, and that it is indeed possible. The relationship between our two countries is testament to this. The Netherlands is a former colonial power that is now supporting development and economic growth across the developing world, including in former Dutch colonies. We are grateful to the Netherlands for its support during the COVID-19 pandemic. This included the provision of personal protective equipment and substantial contribution to our Solidarity Fund. As South Africa, we derive great benefit from our relationship with the Netherlands. This is something I underscored in my engagement with your Prime Minister, who visited our country a few months ago. Our countries have been able to collaborate in the international fora on the promotion of democratic values, human rights, and the role of women in peace and security. I have been fortunate to engage Her Majesty, the Queen, on our shared interest in the promotion of financial inclusion for women on the African continent, and I want to commend Her Majesty for the excellent work that she is doing in that regard. The Netherlands is one of our major trading partners. Our total trade has doubled between 2019 and 2020, and the Netherlands remains one of the most important investors in South Africa. South Africa is also a leading destination for Dutch tourists. You are accompanied by a large business delegation, and I'm confident they will have constructive engagements with their South African counterparts. Our bilateral relationship spans a number of areas: agriculture, education, skills development, transport, logistics, science and innovation, water management, and a number of other areas. Our energy cooperation is increasing, notably in the fields of green hydrogen and renewable energy. These are particularly the areas that Prime Minister Rutte was able to discuss with us during his visit here. I understand that our foreign ministers held a successful meeting of our joint commission yesterday, and we look forward to receiving their report. I am pleased to note that your delegation includes a large academic component because cooperation between our universities has grown a great deal since the advent of democracy. Ours is a strategic partnership, and we can be proud of it. It has evolved, matured, and I see it growing exponentially in the next coming years. May our shared values and common commitment to development guide us as we write what I would believe is a new history and a new chapter in our relationship. So we look forward to expanding the horizons of our relationship well into the future. Your Majesty, your country is a valued partner of South Africa, and we want to develop and broaden and deepen this relationship. So thank you very much for coming to South Africa to visit us. Thank you. Over to you now.
Mr. President, thank you very, very much for your warm words of welcome here this morning for the Queen, myself and our delegation. Baie dankie vir die gasvryheid. Rehu Babwa. Siatonga Kakau. I wish I was able to thank you in all 12 of your nation's official languages, including South African Sign Language. But I hope the message is clear. My wife and I are delighted to be here on a state visit to your magnificent country. I have many, many special memories of South Africa, including, of course, the inauguration of President Mandela, almost 30 years ago. He also celebrated our wedding with us. In fact, Madiba was the only one who invited himself to our wedding. Many more did, but he was the only one that actually was invited. And he was more than welcome. And you, Mr. President, represent the generation after Nelson Mandela. But like him, you've made your mark on the free South Africa. Indeed, you were one of the main architects of the interim constitution of 1993, the foundation on which your democracy is built. South Africa stands out for its strong legislation and independent court system. People here have the freedom to speak out, to unite, to choose their own path to themselves, to be themselves. You were the first country in the world to ban discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation in your constitution. And this deserves the highest respect. We have come to South Africa to listen and to exchange ideas on your concerns and on everything we share. We will do so with an open mind and honest intent. We share a history which, for over a century and a half, was marked by colonialism, abuse of power, and slavery. Its traces are still visible and tangible in many places. Tomorrow, at the Iziko Slave Lodge in Cape Town, we will reflect on this past in all humility. After our colonial ties were severed, a sense of kinship remained. But it wasn't until the 1960s that a broad awareness of injustice towards the black population emerged in the Netherlands. Our country joined the struggle against apartheid, a struggle that succeeded thanks to people like you. South Africa has become a leading voice on the African continent and around the world. You are an advocate for connection. You have demonstrated the power of this in your own country with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which has helped heal so many wounds. Connection. That is what we need so badly around the globe. In that regard, our two countries are truly one mind. We think alike on fundamental principles like human rights and democracy. Together we support the International Criminal Court. And together we promote equality and safety of every human being, regardless of their color, gender, or sexual orientation. We will be discussing all these issues during our visits, including the practical realities that sometimes stand in the way of our ideals. Our work together extends in many other fields too. One of the biggest tasks facing both our countries is the transition to a sustainable energy future. Together we'll be working to build a clean, fair, and climate-friendly energy supply. And I am pleased that we're stepping up our cooperation and exploring the scope for green hydrogen. Wouldn't it be great if you could start exporting South African sunshine to the north? That would give both our economies a sustainable boost. The main source of power for a thriving economy is an educated population. Besides being a young nation, you are a nation of the young. That is fantastic. But many young people are out of work and lack the skills to make their dreams come true. Good education that meets society needs is the key. Our two countries have been working together in education and research for many years. And we hope to give that partnership an extra boost during this visit. Every time I visit South Africa, I feel uplifted by the incredible vitality, positive energy, and enjoyment I find here. It's like watching the Springboks play. Now complete with LED signals from director Rassie Erasmus. And speaking of Erasmus, next month at the Royal Palace in Amsterdam, I will be presenting the Erasmus Prize to a South African, Trevor Noah, the youngest winner of the award in 65 years' history. And there's a fitting connection here between Erasmus of Rotterdam, a humanist who wrote In Praise of Folly more than 500 years ago, and a young South African from Soweto, who made it big as a stand-up comedian in the clubs of Johannesburg. Noah once wrote, and I quote, "I never let the memory of something painful prevent me from trying something new." An inspiring motto. So without forgetting the past, we are here to enhance new opportunities in our partnership with you. And we are looking very much forward to the rest of this visit. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Your Majesty. Those are very heartening words, and we really truly welcome the sentiments expressed in your words. Your Majesty, I am afraid we have to give an opportunity to members of the media who have informed me that at this hour, at about 11:30, they need to take time to go and rest. They've been at work since this morning, so